So the studio mainly produces films by Miyazaki, with their second most prolific director being Takahata, most notably with Grave of the Fireflies.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
That's a movie.
Yes. And that's the one not on Max, right?
that's the one that's not on Max.
Yeah,
I had to go to, it's not even on Amazon Prime. I had to go to fucking Vudu.
Yeah, I rewatched it and I had to go to
Yeah. So Grave of the Fireflies. What do you think, Chelsea?
top tier. If I ever want to cry, I'm watching that movie. I rewatched it with my boyfriend Zach, and
Did he
he ended up falling asleep, right?
Okay.
And then he just wakes up to me violently sobbing. He's like, "What's going on?"
That movie
So
was just.
Lewis says that's his favorite
That's
movie.
my favorite movie.
That's his favorite
of all
It's
time.
really close. It's too sad for me to be my favorite because when I think
No.
about it, I want to cry.
It hit. Like, it just hit. That movie hit. When I first watched it, I was like, I even did a presentation on it on high school.
Really?
Yeah, just like
I know
talking
this.
about, that's how good this movie was. Like, it was ridiculously good. And just like the talk about like post-war
Right.
in
Mhm.
Tokyo and like the bombing and stuff like that, like the way people actually suffered afterwards.
Yeah.
And
It's stressful.
yeah,
It's a
people
true
were
story.
like low on food, housing, money, jobs were scared at that time. So it was really impossible for the poor to come up. And the rich, continue to stay rich. Like, and that's what I mean when I like to talk about like government wise, like, I didn't have a problem with the person in Tokyo at that time.
Right.
But it's our government that have problems with them, with other governments. And then at the end of the day, we're
Right.
the ones that have to suffer. And that movie like definitely represented that. Like
Mhm.
just to show you like, and there was these kids that literally had parents that had a house and, and
Was
they
in the
ended up
military.
losing all of that due to the war, the
Yeah.
outcome of the war. And it sucks. And it was sad and I cried and I was like, oh my God, like I kept thinking like, if these are my kids, like that's so sad. And then like, they only had like little bit of family. And even with the family, like, cause food was so scared at
Yeah.
that time. It was like, well, if you ate your portion of the food, we can't give you more because right now it's like really hard for,
The
for
aunt
even
was
rice.
being a bitch.
Oh my
though.
God, I
wanted to
hated
fucking
that
kill her.
Yes.
She was so mean.
So if my siblings ever treated my kids like that, I would literally lift
Right.
my body out of the grave
You
and
think-
choke their asses.
She was super mean. So
yeah,
to be
and they were
fair-
children. Like
Yeah.
she treated them
at least
as
the littlest one.
the little.
No, they were both. The one was 14, I think. Another one was 4.
So a question that I had when I was watching it, because I don't think it was fair for her to treat him that way at all. But I was like, well, why doesn't he go to work? Like, why doesn't he work?
See, the thing with that criticism, though, is that it's a true story. So,
So what, he couldn't work? Or
no,
what?
like, this
He's
is
too
actual
young?
people that this happened to. And he, like, it's, like, hard to criticize a child.
No, I'm not criticizing him.
No, but, like, a real life person, like,
Oh, I know.
that went through this. So, like, that's my criticism. I have a lot of ways where I'm like, why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that?
Right.
And then you're thinking, like, oh, this is, like, some kid that was actually 14. Both of his parents died.
Yeah, taking care of his sister. Who's
taking taking care of his sister, and then I feel like there probably was no jobs. Like everything was
No,
burned down
there
and
was no
destroyed.
It should have been like a scene though where he tries to work and then they won't let him because of whatever
Yeah.
reason. Because I was like, well, just go to work, man. Like, get the fuck out there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that too, but then you probably just got to take in the considerations. Like
Yeah.
every kid was in that same situation. Think about every kid trying to get a job all at the same time, and everything's burnt down and destroyed.
But
There's
think
no
about it too.
school
Like he's
and-
supposed to be in school at that age.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like you know what
she
I mean.
comes home and
even
he's
her
like right
daughter,
at school.
his aunt's daughter, or
Right.
his cousin was in school.
Right.
Luckily, her husband had a job because it seemed like they were doing okay, but
Yeah.
they were like munching up whatever their mom
Yeah,
left
they,
for
they
them.
sold all of her clothes.
All her clothes,
Yeah.
like a shitload of rice that they had like stored away for them.
And would just give them the rice
like
water.
a little portion
Yeah.
of it, and then he's like, well, can I just have the rest? And then she was like, well, if you kind of want to be on your own,
Yeah, cook your own fucking
then
food.
cook your own food. And like
Yeah,
you do,
kick
yeah,
rocks.
Yeah, really.
yeah, kick rocks,
Yeah.
basically, right? And they were like, okay, fine, whatever,
I will. And then he
I will.
did. And then she's like, oh my God, can you believe that he actually did it just to spite me? And I'm
It's
like,
like,
yeah.
come on, the dude's trying to eat.
yes.
Man's got to eat.
I will say, it did kind of, as a dad, frustrate me when she was being a picky eater. She's like, I don't want rice again. I was like, okay, well, we just had war, little girl.
Yeah.
We just had to-
Eat that
yeah,
rice.
but like,
Well, she comes from a time that was not war, and then she
yeah.
gets thrown into this, and it's like,
it's a huge change
I know.
for
and
everybody.
her body's probably feeling so crappy. She's like, your body like craves nutrients, so it's probably almost like rejecting the rice at that point. Like,
Well, I
need some veggies in me.
I know I can't have rice again. Well, because they ate all the plums or whatever. I thought she had like a disease because her mom was sick. So I thought she kind of like had
straight malnutrition.
No, it was malnutrition.
Yeah.
She got sick, and the mosquito bites too.
Yeah,
and they
just from living out there in the wild.
Yeah, in the hole,
in little it was supposed to be like a bombing tunnel or something like that. Like
like a mining shaft.
So just living out there, like she got sick. Just like the whole story was so sad.
God,
Like
it's about like just how culture and society like treats people. Like even like homeless people now, we're like.
You don't know what they went through.
Yeah, it's like,
you know what I mean? Or like,
I'm good. I take care of myself and my family. I'm not going to worry about you.
Yeah.
So that's that whole feel of the family. Even their own family is I only take care of my immediate family, and then everybody else has to fend for themselves.
She switched up on them so quick.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as the food started running out, that's when she switched up on them, because then then those kids had to rely on her portion of the stuff. And they were like,
working. They were all working and going to school. And I was like,
I think they could have fed them. I think she was just.
I think so.
God damn it! I hate that lady.
But still, like I can also see like maybe they were making enough money to support themselves, and just adding 2 more kids was like even a bigger burden financially, probably, especially after the war. I'm presuming like not everybody was really good economic wise to even take people in to help. You know what I mean? And probably there wasn't like a lot of shelters either. And they looked like they lived in a like kind of like farming area too. So there's probably not a lot of help out there besides, whatever farmers can do for you. And even he kept like stealing food.
Oh my God.
And getting caught.
Beat up. Oh my God.
And getting
the poor
beat
baby.
So what do you like about that movie besides it being sad? Because I will give you mine right now. I did not like this movie. I was way too sad. I was like,
cut it.
It's real life shit. Real life is sad.
It was so unrelentingly sad. I was like, I am miserable watching this movie.
This man went through it. Yeah, the only difference is like basically he lived.
Where he died though.
No, he lived.
The real one.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I don't mind when movies open like that. He's like, this was the fucking day that I died. Boom, boom. And then don't you want to see me how I get there? So when they do stuff like that, you kind of forget. And then when it comes back to the end, you're like, oh yeah, that's how the movie started. I knew he was going to die because I remember him saying, I'm going to die. And his fucking family just kept dying one after the other. And I was like, damn, this is a very sad movie.
I think the Takahata.
Yeah.
I think he said that he put that in the beginning of the movie because he didn't want this to be overly sad, and it lessens our sadness knowing it in the beginning. But like you said, I feel like I forgot. And then every time I'm like, oh my God.
Right. He's going to die. No, when his fucking sister died, I was like, and I wanted
that hit.
Bro.
Oh
that
my God.
hit.
And then it shows a montage of her just spending time by herself and like eating rocks in the dirt. That's what kills me every time.
Because he had to go out there to like look for food or look for some type of job.
So he was trying. I think he was trying very hard.
For sure.
Also, another criticism I have, even though I know like he's a child and he didn't change it. Like at the end, he took out a bunch of money and bought food. I was like, why didn't you just buy food a little fucking earlier?
He took a bunch of money?
Yeah, from the bank.
Yeah.
His mom's like bank account. But he found out his dad died and he was like, fuck it, I'm going to take their money.
Right.
But like.
No. I think what had happened there was that the government was then giving money to like the military people, like, but it didn't come through until like later.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I never got that. I'm like, what? You bought all this food when she's literally dying.
So basically was saying like, hey, veterans that fought the war, I know it took forever years to like now like give you guys back the money or whatever.
That kind of makes sense.
So I think that's when the money finally hit, and he was like, well, I might as well take it now because whatever. And he just like spent it all on whatever he could, food and whatever. But eventually
his
like
pride and went back to that lady's house.
It's that culture there is so different.
No, I think he should have. And I think his aunt, but his aunt is the adult. Do you not?
I know. No, for sure. She's the bad guy in the movie to me. Like,
to me,
besides the planes dropping the bombs.
Oh, she's a bad guy.
She's definitely the villain.
I just felt like she is like the parent. Like you are the.
That's your sister's kids.
Yes. Or whatever, but like
I don't even think they really were.
They're just kids, man. Like, it would frustrate her. She's like, I don't want to eat this. Like, okay, we have to eat it. And then, but he was like nice and he was respectable. Yeah. And I think he was trying to help out, but I mean, he's fucking 14. Like, I have my 13-year-old son. If you let them, they will just like not do shit all day. Like, oh, aren't you supposed to be in school? Yes, take him to school.
Yeah.
Like, throw him in the same school.
That's the point. That's the point of like being an adult. But I don't know. It was just so sad, and then
it was too sad. I was just like,
every
where's the
montage,
silver lining?
every montage of like just everything he did for his little sister, like food wise, like even entertaining her, like just imagine like the imagination, cooking wise, like him just cooking for her, and then them spending at night and collecting the fireflies to light up. Oh my god!
And then when she was like, "Why did fireflies have to die so soon?" That killed me.
Oh my god! And it's just like her getting
because the fireflies were supposed to represent all the like the little dead kids too, and I'm like, oh my god!
She like squished one. And I was like, oh shit! And then she just buries a bunch. Like,
yeah.
I know mom is dead.
Dude, when we found out the aunt had told her about the mom dying, I was like, why I fucking oughta?
Why I oughta, but it's no big deal.
Right? Just like, oh my god.
But I really think they didn't go back because it's a different culture and it's more about like he was creating his own. And
he was like, they were sitting down and he was like, just chilling on the ground.
Yeah, he's like, we can sit however we want.
Yeah, fuck the old generation.
But I think I read it somewhere where it's like the people in like Japan get that more and they don't see that as like a flaw of what he did. But people in America are like, why didn't you go back?
Right.
Like they see it as like a flaw and like.
I mean, that's what the farmer said. He's like, I recommend you go back, man. Like your sister's hungry.
Or even when.
But they weren't getting fed there anyways. Really, they were getting like fucking rice water.
Yeah, but they weren't getting mistreated. I think she would have survived. Like, hello, she fucking died at the end.
Yeah, I guess.
But remember. He is 14 years old.
Yeah,
I feel like you guys don't comprehend that. Like he's still a kid, man. He's out there making adult decisions with a kid brain.
She wanted to live there with him.
In his mind, he thought he was doing the best he could do.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm the man of the house.
He's and he was trying his best to like make whatever little bit of the tunnel into a home for them.
Even Setsuko was like, just never leave me. I just love you. Don't ever leave me. That's all I want. Like, she didn't even care about the food. She's like, you eat it. No. Or like when he got beat up, are you okay? Do I need to get you a doctor? It's like, no, honey, you're the one not okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was just
if that movie was a little bit cuter, I don't know, maybe I'd be more forgiving.
No.
It's
based on a true story. How can you not be forgiving of the situation?
Because it was so sad. It was just sad. To me, it was just sad.
And then when he had to like bury his sister,
and then put him in a little tin can.
I know it. Yeah, and he was like looking at her for a minute before he fucking closed it. I got a little teary eyed.
Yeah, I was violently sobbing.
You had prepped me. You warned me. You're like, it's sad. It's like sad all the way through. And I'm like, okay,
And even when he died in the subway or whatever, just like him hearing his sister's voice.
Yeah, it's another one
calling her like, come back.
They're like, oh yep, throw him in the wagon.
Another one. Let's see what he's got on him.
Oh yes, right.
But that's like the society
peanut butter M&Ms.
Yeah.
Yuck.
That's just the society we live in. But oh my god, that movie
was just too sad for me. But I did appreciate it for being like, but like even like the animation. I don't know. I don't want to shit too much on it.
Another thing I like read about that I thought was cool was that all the outlining for the movie was done in brown to give it like a softer feel. And typically movies are always outlined in black.
Okay. Wow.
And it was like harder to animate it too because it gives less of a contrast. But when you watch it, you do notice that everything is like
a little bit brown.
Yeah, every like thing is outlined in brown unless it's like absolutely necessary to do black. Which I thought it gave it kind of like a softer, like more innocent vibe to it.
I do think so.
Because we're kind of watching it through the lens of children. Because he's sitting there rewatching his life with his sister, basically. So we're kind of seeing
sepia tone a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of like otherworldly. Like we're rewatching what he's already been through with him riding the train, kind of.
Yeah, I mean the movie was not dusty, but it did have like that grain of memory. I don't know, man.
It definitely had a very different feeling than their other movies. But I feel like because the other
Where's the hope?
If you
It's
want
based
to
off
go
of
watch Pixar, bro.
Yeah.
You
And
Pixar bastard.
Taka said he based like the animation of the bombings and stuff on his real life experience
I
too.
read that too.
So
Like
you
the-
know, and it's a different director than the other two movies like we're talking about. So
Right. I guess yes.
it's like a different feel. It's
But
like,
I think it is to get like the general feel. Like, do you imagine living your day-to-day life and then just these planes flying over you, and then all of a sudden, all you hear is explosions and people screaming and
like
yelling
it was too
and
regular
fire.
for them. They're like, "Oh, get inside before you get hit with the bombs." Like, what?
yeah.
Like that's
and
that,
then the mom wrapped up in the bandages and
like
stuff.
just
Oh,
dying.
yeah.
That was he couldn't even see like her face one last time. It's like, don't even unwrap her. It's so bad.
Yeah.
And it's the fire. Like I'd rather get nuked. Like you die instantaneously. The fire is kind of more
Yeah, 'cause she was alive
harsh. Yeah.
when he got there, and then she died.
Well,
Yeah.
the doctor did tell her like there's nothing we can do for her
Yeah.
but like pain medication and just keep her, okay until she passes away.
I feel like at that point, just shoot me in the head.
But also imagine like that. What would
You
that
need
do
on your wrist, on
to your
wristband.
kid mind? Like as a child to
Yeah.
see that.
I
like,
wouldn't want them to see my body like that. I don't know.
That's just crazy. The movie was just
It was so sad. She was fucking around too
Emotional.
much. He's like, when he was putting all the food in the ground, he's like, "Mom, go!" Like,
Yeah, but
Hurry
if
up.
he went with her, then they probably would have died too.
no, for sure. But if she had went sooner, like she was supposed to, then maybe she would have got. Because I was like, why is he not worried about his mom? Why isn't he just running to?
That's
where
what I
she's
thought
at?
too. And why would she leave her kids? Like I wouldn't leave my kids.
Not both of them, or at least take the youngest one.
But I mean, I'm glad. I guess I'm not glad she left them because they died anyway. So
that sucks though. But the movie was
The movie was
to me
Amazing.
it's one of my best movies. Like literally
Really?
top 10. I know it's sad. I know I don't live up to your standards, Xavier.
just because I need some balance, man. I was like,
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
I get it. You're trying to make me sad. I am sad.
I'm
That's
very
the point
sad.
of the movie. Like I
But-
don't think it was supposed to be like a silver lining. Like oh my god, I think it was just
There is
supposed
no
to
silver
show
lining in war.
that there is no silver lining. Like people really did suffer even in the aftermath.
It seemed like
Of it.
propaganda to me. Like I know it was real and I know it really happened, but I was like, as far as like a movie, like an artistic movie, I was like,
They still made it very artistic though.
they had the scenes like with the fireflies and like how you're talking about with it's just her playing
The montage, kind of, yeah.
her, like all that stuff was nice.
In the train and
Yeah, but like imagine I was watching Howl's Moving Castle, Castle in the Sky, and all these different like movies, and
Yeah.
then this in the middle. I was like, this is way
Ooh.
sad. This is like when you watch a scary movie as a kid, and then you have to watch like something funny
and I
afterwards.
watched that as a young child too. I remember.
That fucked you up.
Yeah, it still fucks me up.
Yeah.
But it's kind of nice, like, because sometimes I just need to cry and I can't, and then
Yeah.
I'll just watch that movie and I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
I'm good now.
We'll get you there.
Do you have anything more about Grave Fireflies?
If you guys haven't watched it, definitely watch it.
I think it is a very good watch,
Is it?
and it really, I think just learning about the wars and stuff, it doesn't really hit home. But when you watch something and it's kind of more of a personal experience to how a
Yeah.
war is affected to them, it really just hits home.
Yeah.
You get stressed, like
Yeah.
him like running through it, like you can feel the stress of him like just trying to find somewhere to stay, and you can't stay there too long. You got to keep it moving.
Keep it moving. Also, if you need like a good cry, too,
Yeah.
like, if
I
you
know.
just
Oh, my.
if you just been going through some shit in life
Right.
and you're just like, man, I haven't been able to just cry.
Yeah.
Put this
Chelsea
movie on,
prescribes
and I,
this
movie
for-
I promise,
for a
like
good
you would
cry.
shed tears and you just bawl out crying.
If you don't, I'm looking at you funny. Like if you don't cry at this movie, it's like,
Right?
what's wrong with you?
You're broke.
You're even broken.
You need to have some feelings. I don't know.